Hi there, I'm John from the Corporate Breakout Couple. Today, I have a very interesting video for you, and the topic revolves around retirement, specifically for Malaysians and Singaporeans. Well, if you notice from the title, it says that Malaysians can retire from the age of 55 onwards, while Singaporeans can only retire from the age of 65 onwards. Is it true? Let's find out. We will also be examining the pros and cons of retiring in these two countries, Malaysia and Singapore, and comparing a Singaporean retiring in Singapore versus a Malaysian retiring in Malaysia. What kind of retirement options can these two be looking at? What kind of lifestyle would they be expecting? At what age can they retire by? Just a little backstory, my wife Fran is from Malaysia, she's from Penang, I'm Singaporean, and we both early retired at the age of 40 in 2020, and we call both Penang and Singapore our homes. We are touching on the topic of retirement today because we believe that everybody has the right and the choice to choose whether they want to retire early or not, and not by a fixed age mandated by the government or the systems of the world. Well, although today we are a bit more focused on Malaysia and Singapore's Social Security and Retirement Fund system, the EPF Employees Provident Fund and the CPF Central Provident Fund, but whatever that will be unfolding will be applicable to everybody. Let's cover a quick snapshot on the EPF and the CPF, starting with Malaysia's EPF. On the KWSP website, it says here upon reaching age 55, the contributing members officially enter retirement age, and you now have the choice to manage your retirement funds either to make a full withdrawal or flexible withdrawal. Note that the EPF dividend payout for conventional savings for the last 10 years has been consistently over 5%, up to 6.9%, the highest ever in 2017, and for last year 2023 it was at 5.5%. The key thing to note here is for Malaysians, by the age of 55 onwards, you are eligible to make a full withdrawal for your retirement. Let's switch over to Singapore. For Singapore's CPF, well, at the age of 55, you are eligible to make some withdrawal for your CPF as well. However, here's the catch. You do have to lock in a minimum sum at the age of 55, and your retirement payout, which will be in the form of monthly payout, only starts at the age of 65. There are three levels of retirement sums. The basic retirement sum, which covers your basic needs. Note that for the basic retirement amount, you need to pledge your property. And the second one is full retirement sum, which is an ideal point of reference which one needs in retirement, and the enhanced retirement sum, the ERS, providing a higher monthly payout. Well, the current full retirement sum for those of you who turn 55 in 2024 stands at $205,800. So you need to log in the $205,800 at the age of 55, and you only get your payout at the age of 65, which is an estimated amount of 1,560 to 1,670 Sing dollars. Well, here's the kicker, Singaporeans. For every year, there is an increase in your minimum sum, which means when you only turn 55, let's say 10 years or 20 years from now, there's a stacked on increase to the minimum amount that you need to lock in at the age of 55, and you only get a draw by 65 with a monthly payout. Well, my intention here is not to go into the mechanics of the CPF or the EPF, but as you can probably see and guess by now, based on the age 55 and 65 for Malaysians and Singaporeans, you know why the title says Malaysians can retire at the age of 55 while Singaporeans can only retire by the age of 65. Let's now talk about the cost of living in Malaysia and Singapore and what's related to the cost of living, your lifestyle choices. If you've been following our channel for a while, you know that Fran and I have traveled to all 13 states in West and East Malaysia. And for Singapore, Fran is a Singapore PR. She has been living there and working there for 13 years. I'm a born and bred Singaporean. So we created a lot of cost of living and retirement videos around Singapore and Malaysia, and we are pretty familiar with the pricing and the cost of living. One notable difference between Singapore and Malaysia, as you can probably guess, is Singapore is a tiny nation, it's a city, it's a country, it's an island all by itself, while Malaysia has multiple cities, multiple towns, and seaside places and islands as well. So if you are looking at the cost of living, Singapore has a fixed baseline cost of living that every Singaporean is more or less at the same level, whereas for Malaysians, there's a lot of variations in terms of cost, all the way from very affordable places in your kampong areas to your big cities like KL and Penang. What does that imply? It implies that Singaporeans cannot run away from the baseline cost of your basic needs. Let's say your transport, your accommodation, your healthcare, your food, and your groceries. The baseline cost is there, you cannot run away from it. What that means is your basic needs, let's say your public transport, if the PTC, Public Transport Council, increases the fares for the bus and MRT, you have to swallow it and pay for it. If let's say NTUC increases the price of basic necessities, let's say eggs, flour, bread, you can't hide from it either. Malaysia is different. It is a large country and it produces its own oil. It has its own agriculture, like it produces its own crops, rice, and certain other kinds of agriculture. Therefore, certain items are controlled and kept to a minimum in terms of cost, like your bread, like your sugar, like your cooking oil. As a Singaporean who has lived in Malaysia for the last 2+ years, there are certain items that I noticed has a huge disparity in price. Let's say cooking oil. Cooking oil in Singapore, let's say the knife brand, the peanut oil, let's say 1 litre costs the equivalent of 5 litres in Malaysia. Imagine that. In terms of oil prices, it extends to petrol as well. Do you know that Malaysia is one of the top 10 cheapest places for petrol in the world? Comparing petrol prices in Malaysia and Singapore, did you know that for octane 95, it costs more than 4 times in Singapore after you convert than in Malaysia? One key difference between choosing to retire in Singapore versus Malaysia is actually in Malaysia, whether it's West or East Malaysia, you have plenty of choices to choose from, which will then dictate the cost of living and also your standard of living. Let's say you're a Malaysian who enjoys the high life, you are a city person and you want to enjoy a higher standard of living. You want to eat well, you want to live well, you want to shop well. You might want to choose a place like Kuala Lumpur or Penang. If you love the island life, the seaside life, so many options as well. You can go to Langkawi, you can go to Terengganu, you can go to a laid-back lifestyle where your cost of living is significantly lower. One thing to note, a lot of Malaysians who come from the smaller towns tend to go to the bigger cities like Kuala Lumpur and Penang for better career and work opportunities, better pay as well. By the time they retire, they tend to balik kampong and go back to their hometown, the place where they're familiar with, where they grew up in. Therefore, in terms of comparing the cost of living, Malaysians have plenty of choices. You can choose to stay in the big cities or the smaller towns, whereas for Singaporeans, you have fixed baseline costs that you cannot run away from. Coming back to my question at the beginning of this video, can Malaysians retire at the age of 55 while Singaporeans can only retire at the age of 65? Would you like to know my honest answer? Based on the default work environment for both Malaysia and Singapore, I don't think anybody can retire at the age of 55. Most likely, it'll be 65 onwards. For Singapore, it is more straightforward. You have your money locked in at the age of 55, but only get a retirement payout at the age of 65. Therefore, a lot of Singaporeans' retirement planning only starts from 65 onwards. For Malaysians, there are a variety of factors that I believe why Malaysians cannot retire at 55 or earlier. The first factor is how much money that Malaysians have in their EPF, even though you can withdraw everything by age 55. We've done a variety of videos on this, on the T20, M40, B40, do check them out, and it's shocking how little Malaysians have in terms of their retirement savings by age 55. The second factor is lifestyle inflation that I've noticed and also read about in my 2 over years here in Malaysia, especially in the bigger cities like Kuala Lumpur and Penang, where I noticed keeping up the Joneses attitude is quite a big thing here, and comparing your neighbors, and Malaysians are getting a bigger car or more cars and a bigger house, and comparing their lifestyles. So the key thing here is, as you keep up with the Joneses, you take away the opportunity for you to put money to work, to invest, and also to save more towards your retirement, and therefore these people who are subjected to lifestyle inflation cannot retire at 55 or younger. The third factor is global inflation and the depreciation of the Malaysian ringgit. The ringgit has performed badly against other currencies for the last decade, and what that means is any imported elements, anything that's a brand that's not from Malaysia, that's not locally produced, will hit a Malaysian in some way or another because there's extra cost to import in the goods. I have a message for you. Despite All the things that I shared with you earlier, whether you're Malaysian or Singaporean, I'd like to share with you that your retirement decision is entirely up to you, which means you can actually choose whichever age you want to retire by. The question is not whether you can retire early or not. The question is, what is your commitment level to see through your early retirement goal? The basic early retirement plan is actually not difficult to craft out. Have your retirement age, have your retirement number, have your savings, have your money put to work by investing, and then you'll hit your retirement goal. The mathematics is actually not difficult. It's quite simple to calculate. The difference and the secret here is your mindset. People who are successful will tell you this. It is 90% mindset and 10% strategies. So you look at any businessman, you look at any investor, anybody who's successful, it is right down to the mindset rather than the tactics and the strategies. If you're interested, we would love to support you, especially on your financial journey. In case you're unaware, Fran and I started conducting masterclasses a few times a month. They are free of charge on topics such as financial literacy, mindset, and for people who are interested to break out the corporate rat race and gun for their financial independence. Slots are limited, so register to join our mailing list in the link below today. I hope today's video has given you good value and serious thoughts about how you want to approach your retirement. And as always, we appreciate your support for our channel by hitting the like button, subscribe to join our mailing list, and subscribe to join our YouTube channel. Otherwise, see you in the next video.